You know what's wild is that one of the biggest challenges that you might have as a creator is not actually in creating content, but maybe in trying to figure out what content to create. Ergo, what are the ideas that you should execute on, or how do you come up with ideas for content? Well, have no fear. The automation that I'm going to show you today is going to show you how to come up with unlimited ideas. Really backed by real humans. And I'm so excited to walk you through my Reddit idea automation right now to help you fuel those content ideas. And what's really great about this automation is that it's pretty simple. You only have really two ingredients that you need. One of them being Zapier agents, so you need access to Zapier as well as Zapier workflows. And then lastly, you need Airtable so that you can store all of your content ideas within a database. And what's really great about this even further is that we're going to be basically walking through this process only in 3 steps. So the first steps is that you're going to create your database so that you can have your database of content ideas. You want the post title, the link, the content, and then the second step is we're actually going to create a Reddit filter agent. So basically what this agent is going to do is it's going to look at this Reddit post and identify, does it meet the parameters of the type of posts that I like to look for? And if so, continue onwards. Then we're going to actually create the entire workflow that links all this together. So when a new post comes into Reddit, that's a hot post, identify and send it to the Reddit agent to filter if it's meeting our parameters, and then put it into our database library so that you can review and see all the ideas. Now, if you are wanting all the templates that I showcase in this, feel free to comment templates and I'll send you the information from that point on. But let's kind of go ahead and get into step 1 right now. All right, so one of the things that you need to create in step 1 is actually create the database so that you can house all of your content ideas in one central place. Now, I'm using our regular Airtable, and if you see my previous videos, you actually can take your newsletter content and create short videos, so I highly recommend you watch the video for that. But what's really great is that we're just going to add on to this database template that I created here so that you can also have Reddit ideas help inform your content in general. And so with this content ideas for this table, the way that I edit a table is I just click this plus icon, start from scratch, and then I made sure to have these particular fields. Now, if you don't know how to add fields, go ahead and Airtable, click this field icon, this plus icon, and then you want to make sure you want to have single line text as your name, and then long text as your notes, and then URL as your link. And so what this database is basically it's going to host all of our content ideas that we're specifically getting from Reddit that are meeting our parameters and that are meeting our filters. So basically you just want the name of the post, the content of the post, as well as the link itself. Now, going into step 2, let me kind of take a back seat right here. We are going to be using Zapier agents to create our filter. And so with Zapier agents is pretty simple and it's pretty easy to do. You're just going to go ahead and select a new agent. I've already pre-built this agent, and what's really cool about this is that if you have never created agents before, you can actually use this section right here to do chat with Copilot. And that's exactly what I did. Basically, the Copilot my prompt was essentially like, hey, I actually need a Reddit agent to analyze my Reddit posts and identify it's related to the topic that I speak on, which is marketing, generally. And then if it actually, is a post related to what I speak about, then comment yes. If not, then comment no. And so I actually created this prompt here. Now you can go ahead and steal this prompt, but basically it's searching Reddit for the post related to my particular topic, marketing, and those questions. It's extracting the information and really analyzing if the post is related to marketing. If it is, reply yes. If it's not, reply no. Now, one of the things that's really critical from this Zapier agent is you want to make sure that your trigger is a trigger via Zap. And so the reason why you want to do that is because you want to be able to use this agent to call upon it in a larger workflow. And that larger workflow is going to be this template right here. And so let's kind of go ahead and get into the trigger. feel free to follow the steps to connect your Reddit account into Zapier as a trigger. It is going to prompt you to create an application within Reddit. It's really not that hard. Just follow the instructions. But I'm just going to continue assuming that you've already done that piece. And then what I would say is like identify the subreddits that you actually want to find posts from. And so for me, I feel like entrepreneur, the subreddit, is the post or the subreddit community that I tend to see a lot of, stuff that I comment on. And so make sure you just type in like the actual name of the Reddit community. Don't put r/. It's not going to help you. So let's kind of go ahead and continue onwards. And so it actually, identified some hot posts, and it actually gave me a couple records. So we're going to go ahead and select this record right here as a test sample. And what's really critical about this workflow, and this is kind of like a protection place or a protection area that I put in place, is if you did not have a filter with this workflow, you might get hundreds of ideas, which is great, but you may not need that many ideas to start with, right? And why would you get that scenario if you didn't have that filter? Well, you would get that scenario because the trigger is new hot post in subreddit. Imagine the amount of people who post in Reddit, right? And if, Reddit is identifying that this is a hot post, this automation can trigger pretty fast and can run against your task limit pretty quickly, right? And so you just want to make sure to have a filter in place. So the filter that I created here is just thinking about like, hey, like I don't need you to pull ideas every day of the week, but maybe I just need you to pull ideas one day out of the week, right? And so the way that we're going to do this is, in order for me to identify, let's just say I want to only have Reddit ideas pulled on Wednesdays. Well, I need to identify if it's actually Wednesday, right? So we're going to use this formatter by Zapier step, and we're going to use the action event date and time. Continue. I'm not going to put anything to input because there is nothing to input, but the expression that I'm going to get is putting today. Like I want to know what today's date is. So for example, if this was triggering on Wednesday, I want to know what the date is. If it actually is Wednesday, right? And so we're going to go ahead and say like, okay, today's Wednesday, October 15th. Continue. And then we're going to put a filter. And this filter is kind of helping you identify like what day is it, but also making sure that you're only, triggering this automation on the one specific day of the week that you need it to trigger. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and select the output, which is the previous date. And if the date contains Wednesday, then I want it to continue, right? And so it will continue the next steps. And what I really like about this is that because we're using the steps made by Zapier, it's not going to go against your task limit, other than maybe the trigger, right? But other than that, it's a good like filter in place so that you don't, run out of tasks. So we're going to go ahead and press continue. And then we're going to have agents. Now, in order for you to call upon agents, you're going to select the agent that you just built. Now, if you're seeing this and you're looking at this and you're trying to do it yourself and you're like, wait, I don't see this agent showing up in my field, select refresh results. And if we're still not seeing it in your field, make sure that your agent is on. So we have it here. But we also want to make sure that your agent is triggered via Zap. So how do I make sure that this is triggered via Zap? I go ahead and select the gears icon and make sure that this is triggered via Zap. And then feel free to refresh the results and you should be able to see the specific Reddit agent here that you see here. So what we're going to have next is we're going to go ahead and send the data of the post to this Reddit agent to identify. And so we're going to put the title, and then we're going to go ahead and select the title. So you can go ahead and put that here. The URL, put that here. The content, which is the self-text, put that there. And then we're going to go ahead and press continue. Now, one of the responses that this agent is required to tell me is that if this post relates to marketing, the output is going to be yes. If this post does not relate to marketing, reply no. And so the reason why we're doing that is because we're going to add a filter step that essentially says, I only want you to pull in posts that relate to my specific requirements. And so the way that you're going to know if it matches your specific requirements, is if the response text actually contains yes. So I just go ahead and select the response text. And if the response text contains yes, it will go ahead and continue. And the last step is if it continues, it will go ahead and add the record to the automation. So basically, we want to select the template base that we have here. Base, right here. Base here. Table, I like to think of table as tabs. So you have tabs here, table there. And then we're just going to go ahead and put just like the name, the text, as well as the link. And essentially, this is the automation that's going to help you basically, turn your content ideas into a running database for you to review. You're going to go ahead and select publish, and then you're going to wait 1 more minute for the closeout. You just learned on how I'm leveraging Reddit to really come up with unlimited content ideas, but more importantly, how do you automate that entire process? Now, if you want to take this a step further, then I'm going to highly encourage you watch this next video where I basically show you how to take your newsletter content from those ideas and actually create a viral short form video that actually gives you results in an automated way. So it's my exact automation that I use to create a viral short form video automatically from my newsletter content. So make sure to go ahead and comment, like, and subscribe. I have a goal of 1,000 subscribers, so I'm halfway there. Please help me get there, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.